So here we have the cube. I'm going to fill that in with that 80%. Let's bring this light over. Now, the thing with a cube is you have certain new opportunities for us. Now, there's something we call a 1, 2, 3 read, but let me just talk about what a 1, 2, 2 read is. So right now it's just one value. We can assign that value the number 1, or A, B, or C. We'll just say it's 1, right? If we take that value and go halfway to black, approximately, and then fill in these sides with this new value, we could assign a number to this value, number 2 or B. Now it's a 1, 2, 2 read, meaning this is what we assign number 1 or A, and then this is 2, but this is also 2. Now you could use this for your rendering, that's fine, but what works effectively is what we call a 1, 2, 3 read, which means we're gonna have to change the light position a little bit. So let's go back to 80. We're gonna make the top part the lightest part, and then these two sides the darker ones. So first what I'm gonna do is select that 80. We're gonna go halfway to black and just kind of paint that in real quick. Okay, now instead of using that same shadow value over here, which would make it a 1, 2, 2 read, I'm gonna go back to 80. Instead of going halfway to black, I'm only gonna go 25% the way to black. Now we have what is called a 1, 2, 3 read. Now it has a nice balance where each side is contrasting just enough on every side. So this darkest side is contrasting against the top and the left side, and the left side is contrasting against the top and the right side. This is a pretty effective way to get things to pop out and read like it's three-dimensional by showing as many dimensions as you can. So I'm going to go ahead and lock the transparency here. I guess I already did. And I want to change the geometry a little bit. Remember how we put a bevel here on that cylinder so it's not sharp? We're going to do the same thing here. So what's going to happen is we're going to just slice off these corners like that. And we're going to pretend that the wireframe is now like a cylinder or a bevel. It's going to be sphere-like there. And the wireframe is now doing something like that, which means there's going to be a highlight here as it transitions to the other side. So that'll be rounded as well. So I'm going to unlock that transparency. I'm going to just use the eraser tool and just erase those edges. Okay, gonna lock the transparency again. Now grab that mixer brush. We're just gonna pretend that these are cylinders. So if we remember that the cylinder has that curvature for the core shadow there, we're gonna do the same thing here, just blurring it like so, and do a quick drag over the whole thing. And suddenly now it looks like it's a curve, a nice soft bevel. You zoom out, it looks nice and three-dimensional. We can actually kill that line work. And we're going to add that highlight that we talked about. And now it looks like it's showing the illusion of reality. One thing I'd also like to mention is that this value here is pretty much uniform on the whole side. Same with this, it's uniform, that is uniform. One thing I'd like to recommend for this, but also for your paintings, is any given shape that has a value or color or texture, try to have a gradation where it's from one value gradating to another, either this way or the other way. So if we select this color and just pick a slightly darker version of it, and you grab an airbrush and have a very subtle indication like that, suddenly it feels a little bit more realistic. It's a very small trick that'll make things look nicer. Because in reality, it's pretty rare for something to have a uniform value across the whole thing. There we go. And actually, I can introduce a bounce light too. That'll also work as a gradation.